Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another reading vlog with yours truly, Ange. It's a little chaotic right now. I don't know if I'm trying to reorganize my living room and it's not going well at all, but I really want to reorganize and declutter. My daughter's currently at her grandma's and I think she's coming back tonight. So I want to declutter as much as possible before she gets back because we don't need all this everywhere. Like we really don't need all this shit everywhere. It's not going too well. All of that to say, I'm having a hard time getting everything kind of like where I want it to go. But I did want to start a reading vlog because I have been reading. I haven't been reading as much lately, and I'm not that mad about it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not too upset about it. I did binge 2 books over the last weekend. I read Before We Came by Sloane James. I might be getting the author's name wrong. I'm very sorry. I'll put a picture of it right here. And it's like a hockey romance. I think it's like a darker hockey romance. I just didn't really love it. I didn't really like it. Everything felt so abrupt, which is kind of like a theme. You'll see. It just felt very abrupt. Nothing was fleshed out. It's not a fantasy. It's just a contemporary hockey romance, darker elements. I don't know. It just was lacking for me. And I did end up finishing it because it was a short book. I read it in like 4 hours or 5 hours. And yeah, it just wasn't for me. Didn't end up liking it. And then I followed it up with another hockey romance, which was Match Penalty, I think it's called. And that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. I liked the characters. I liked the love story. There is a third act breakup, which isn't my favorite, but I thought it was done pretty well. I ended up really enjoying that. I think I'm kind of going to stick to hockey romance if it's not a fantasy because I'm having issues. I'm having some issues right now with some of the fantasy stories I'm reading. Not all of them though. Not all of them because I just finished up the second book in the Legends of Thesmar series. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me. I'm bad at this, you know this. And while it was entirely too spicy, like there's no reason for that many spice scenes in one book in my opinion, I think the plot progression despite that was incredible. I thought that was really well done. So I will be continuing that series, but I wanted to read something else in the meantime. Tried to pick up Vicious Bonds by Shanora Williams. No. As far as I got in the story, she is in current day, whatever, and she gets sucked through a portal into some other world. And the world building was just, it was not for me. As far as I got, I didn't understand what the world looked like. I didn't understand. I couldn't visualize anything. I didn't have any idea what was being talked about. Like, I feel like there were Cybertrucks and pagers, but there were no cell phones or computer. Like, I just was confused. And then they're describing, like, the setting itself and how it's, like, 1920s, kind of. But then the buildings were from, like, way back in the day. Like, real long time ago, past 1920s. I don't know. I just couldn't. It just wasn't working for my brain, unfortunately. And it sucks because I did underline something, so I can't return it. And I wouldn't be comfortable selling it since I wrote in it. Then we decided to pick up Cyberpunk. It's Cyberpunk 2077, no coincidence, right? This is based in the same exact world as Cyberpunk Edgerunners, the anime on Netflix. It's in Night City, but you follow an entirely different cast of characters, and they're trying to execute some type of heist. I'm loving it. This is one of the rare moments where I will say you should watch before you read because I think, especially folks who have aphantasia, I hope I said that correctly, where you can't visualize things while you're reading. I think if you watch the show, you will have such a better grasp on like what this city looks like, what the city looks like, what all these different types of people in the city could look like. I think it would make a lot more sense. And this would be way more enjoyable because I'm fucking loving it. I'm having such a good time with it. And then to get back onto the indie book challenge I have set for myself for the month, I went ahead and I started reading The Poison Daughter. This has been making its rounds on TikTok and Instagram. People have been hyping it up. They really like it. There are some folks that don't normally read like darker romanticises, and I see them talking about it very highly, so it kind of made me want to read it. I read 222 pages last night, and I won't say anything yet because I do need to continue a little bit further. I think I need to give this book a little bit more of a chance. Mind you, at 200 and some pages, I usually don't care about DNFing. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I'll just DNF it if I don't like it. With this one, I feel like I need to give it a little bit more. I don't want to spoil anything. So this will kind of be our focus book for tonight and hopefully tomorrow if I like it past today. But there have been some scenes that were just very abrupt. They were very abrupt. Like, we watched somebody being literally, and it just happened, and there was no explanation. That nothing came, like, it was just a very abrupt scene, and it felt like we never fleshed it out or anything. So I don't know, it was just kind of like jarring. It's kind of a theme going on right now. It was like, I'm reading a lot of things and it just feels very jarring. Like, for me personally, and my enjoyment when I'm reading, you need to flesh things out. You need to explain why this is a problem, or you need to bring it back at some point so that I can understand why the characters behave the way they did after it happened. But it's not really happening lately, and it's happened twice now in The Poisoned Daughter, and I'm going to continue to give that a chance though and see what happens, because again, so many people have spoken so highly of it, and so many people outside of the normal fantasy romance folks that I see in my corner have spoken highly of it. So I would like to give it more of a chance, but we'll see. I don't have anything planned outside of that. I don't know what I would follow that up with. I don't know. We're just going to play it by ear. We're just going to play it by ear this week. Hang out with me. It's actually a Tuesday. Yesterday was really, really crazy. So I didn't do anything yesterday, quite frankly. But today's the day. I need to finish the living room. I don't want to finish the living room because it's a mess. You ever do that? It's like when I go to organize my bookshelves, I'm so excited at the beginning, and then I start taking everything down, and I'm like, what have you fucking done? And then instead of putting it back and being like, you know what, we just gonna leave it like that, I keep going. And then all the shelves are empty, and all the books are everywhere, and I have to put them back. That's how I feel about this situation right now. All of this pretty much is my daughter's toys and her activity table and stuff. So it's going through, what has she been playing with? What has she not been playing with? Can I donate it? Is it trash? That kind of thing. We don't have enough space. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment, and it's not a big one. We don't have enough space for all this extra stuff all the time everywhere, and it is starting to get to me a little bit. Like, it's starting to make me a little restless sometimes. There have been a couple of days last week, where I couldn't walk straight through the living room. I had to get to the couch, and it's not that big of a space for me to have to do that. So we're going to work on that today. Let's see how it goes. I don't know what the audio is going to sound like for this video because I misplaced my TGI mic. I misplaced my mini mic the last time I came back from my parents' house. No, the last vlog. I had it in the last vlog, but I've misplaced it since then. And the last vlog was after I came back? Yeah. Anyways, point is, I misplaced it, and I don't know where it is, and I don't have the energy to look for that right now. So I'm using my Rode mic right now. So the audio is it's good on the Rode mic. It's just a little bit less crisp, which I hope you guys don't care, because I don't care right now, at least. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Do you want to know what the most annoying thing in this house is? And she always manages to turn this shit on when I'm the most overstimulated I've been in the entire day. That's when she turns this thing on. I can't do it. I can't do it. Uh, I I I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Maybe we could say like it's a soft DNF. Like a soft DNF. Like maybe I'll pick it up if I ever decide I want to find out what happens at the end of this, but I can't do it. I can't do it. It's such a redundant story. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of Rock Paper Scissors by Alice Feeney. The books are very very different from each other, but just in the sense of like you have these two people who keep putting on this show that they care about each other and that they like that there's something there and there's affection, but in reality their inner monologues reveal that every single interaction is like a game. Like they're trying to one up each other. I can't do that for however many pages is left in this fucking book. I can't keep doing it. Every time I feel like they're having a genuine conversation and maybe laying some type of foundation out, you find out in their own point of views that they were literally just playing the other. I can't fucking do it anymore. I'm so aggravated with this book. It's not even funny. The Poisoned Daughter will be a DNF at this point. I laugh. I laugh because like how far do you take thinking maybe it'll get better. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe it'll get better. How long do you do that for? How long am I expected to just be like, well, maybe it'll get better. Like maybe they'll explain this. Or like maybe they'll stop speaking in fucking code and say something clearly to each other for once. Like how long do I do that before I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm done. I'm done. Apparently, 264 pages. I'm done. I literally read the first 2 sentences of this chapter and I was like, I'm done. Oh god. Ugh, it's fine. I can see why people like it though. It's very rare that I dislike a book all around. Like I don't like anything about it. Usually when I'm not having a great time, I start to look for things that I do like to see if that helps. But I do like the idea of Harlow being a woman who is for women, right? I love the chronic illness representation in it. I don't particularly enjoy her I'm not quite sure how to say it. You have the chronic illness and then you have Harlow not wanting others to know that she has a chronic illness because to her it's weak. I don't love how like hard we're going on that. It really did feel like we were just like kind of harping on that a little bit too much or like repeating it too much. So, but that was it. And like I'm like 99% positive I know what's going on in this book and I don't love it. Like Henry, he just like there's no part of him that feels genuine. Like there's nothing about that character that feels like, okay, I think we're starting to get the real to get to know. Oh my god. There's no part of Henry that feels like we're starting to get to know the real him. It really just feels like he's constantly walking around with a mask. And I'm sure there's a reason for that, and I'm sure if I kept reading I would find out, but like I just don't have the energy for it. He has a really I don't his inner monologue is quite distasteful in my opinion. Like I just don't like him. And nothing to do specifically with the FMC, just like I don't like the way that he perceives the things around him. It doesn't vibe with me. And I'm talking about a fictional person obviously. So like reading is subjective, but like I just don't enjoy his POV. I don't enjoy him. I don't want Harlow to end up with him, quite frankly, and he has said a couple of things like, I don't know, I just can't stand it. I can't stand how nefarious he is, so we're done with this. I did grab, but now they're all spread out. I don't want to read Cyberpunk. I think I'm going to save that for my drive to my parents. If my daughter lets me read in the car, I will listen to some more of that because I really, really, really love the audiobook. I really do. And a part of me was thinking like, ooh, do I want to do Assassin's Apprentice? But I think I just want to eyeball read something. I don't know that I want to do an audiobook right now, truthfully. So you know what I did grab? And this is going to count for my indie book challenge because even though everybody knows this book, and it is very, very popular in the fantasy circles. I know it is technically indie published. It still is not traditionally published. So I'm gonna cheat a little bit, just a little bit. I think I'm gonna try and start the Sword of Kaigen. Oh, you know something else actually, and I was just about to say like, it's interesting because the main character in this book is an adult woman and she's a mother. In The Poison Daughter, I do like the fact that the characters are in their 30s. Like Harlow is 30 if I'm not mistaken. I do like the fact that it's an older cast of characters. I get the impression that she's like slightly on the younger side of everybody. So like I don't know. I like that part about the story. I just don't seem to like anything else about it. I'm so funny. Hee hee ha. It sounds like this school is in the heavens. Like the school is on Olympus. And that sounds crazy. He said his legs absorbing the shifting of the floor as the school swayed on its posts. Mm-mm. I wouldn't survive in this fantasy world. I'd be like, no. Put me back on the ground, please. That sounds crazy. So the way the world is described, it makes me think, well, the way it was described for a moment, it made me think of like Imperial China, something like that, right? Maybe not specifically China, but you know what I mean. And then, but then he was asking him about a device, and I'm like, oh. And they mentioned the TV and video games, and I'm like, what? Lately, the blending of times when it comes to like a setting in the book, like this, the blending of like Imperial China. I'm okay. Well, I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna stop saying China. Like this situation where you have like this blending of like Imperial something or other, something old, obviously, in combination with or like coexisting with technology is just. I just yawned really big in the middle of that sentence. I don't know. I just find it weird lately because it's not the first time. Like Vicious Bonds, it felt like that too. Like when she got transported to that other world, it was kind of like it was an old world, but they had futuristic tech, but they didn't have the basics like a phone. You know what I mean? Like I just am struggling with the blending of times lately. So yeah, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going because I don't have any feelings about it so far. Like I'm neutral. I'm also 8 pages in, so I haven't read that much. But I guess at this point, I'm just kind of curious, like what the world really looks like. I don't know. I don't know. Good morning. In case you were wondering, this is what the living room looks like now. It looks so much better than it did before. I still got to clear the books off of the countertop over there in the kitchen, but I'm just glad that I can see the floor at this point and walk in a straight line from one end of the apartment to the other. So, anyways, yesterday, as you saw yesterday, I was reading and decided to DNF The Poison Daughter. It just is not working for me. And I'm going to be continuing with The Sword of Kaigen. I only read to chapter Yeah, I only read to chapter 3. I was trying to see if I read this part last night, but I did. And I did download it on my Kindle as well, just to read at night, because it's a very stiff book. So it's kind of annoying to read. I don't like stiff books. But so far, I like it. There's 2 point of views. You have Misaki, who is the mother, and she is a mother of 5 boys now at this point, I think. And she's married to one of like the She's married to a man in their village who's like a little bit higher up on the totem pole. That's what I'll say. They are a family, or she married into a family that is, I guess, like they're the only ones that can do this specific technique with magic and swords. I don't fully understand the magic system. I don't, quite frankly, and I've been thinking about maybe reaching out to Sam and asking her, like, what she remembers of the magic system, just so I can get just so I can get a better grasp on it. because it really hasn't been explained very well for me to understand. And then the other point of view we have so far is Mamoru. Mamoru. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. And that is Misaki's son, her oldest son, and he wants to be a warrior. He's training to be a warrior, and that is what this entire village, the like Kaigen Ease village, that's what they do. They train up to be warriors to protect the empire. And in his school, there is a new kid who's from outside of their community, and this new kid is kind of dropping some truth bombs on Mamoru and kind of explaining that like what you've been fed isn't everything and it might not even be true. And Misaki has also hinted at the fact that like what they've been led to believe might not be the entire truth or the truth at all. So I'm enjoying it so far. There was a training sequence, and Mamoru was showing off his skills, and he tried this new fancy thing he wasn't supposed to, and he did all right with it. And the kid, they got into a little argument, and they had to go to the principal's office or headmaster, whatever you call it, and they left, and Mamoru threw himself on the ground, and he went on the ground, and he started talking, and the kid was like, ah. Literally made me laugh so hard. He basically was like, I saw you in class. I'm not fighting you. I just want to pick a tab. Are you guys watching me struggle? And then I feel old because, like, there's sun coming in through the window, but obviously I don't want to turn the lights on because I hate overhead lights. But now I'm sitting here, like, squinting and shit, trying to see if these two are the same color or not. And then everything is sliding around over here in front of me, which is just, it's just a recipe for stress. Like, I'm starting to get a little stressed out by this process I started. This is the one where I put the rejects. I have all the rejected colors. There is nothing about what I'm doing right now that is this funny, but I just can't help but laugh. No, this was after the headmaster. This was the other funny part. It was after the headmaster, and the headmaster told them, if you guys have a problem, you either go and take it up in single combat against each other, or you let it go. There's no fighting each other outside of single combat. And then they left the headmaster's office, and Kwang was like, what? What do you mean? He said, was the headmaster serious about challenging people to single combat? You guys really do that? How else would we settle our differences? I don't know. Talking? Yo, Kwang is fucking funny. So Kwang, like I said, he's from outside of this community. Where the hell are they? Kusanagi Peninsula. Okay, so Kwang is from outside of this Kusanagi Peninsula, so he has seen a little bit more. He has access to more information. It seems like he has access to technology that maybe they don't have access to on this peninsula, but he has revealed to Mamoru that in the wars, specifically one, that, right, Mamoru and his people are being taught that they didn't lose anybody, there were no casualties, they pushed back the Raganese, I think that's what it's called, Ranganese or whatever, right, they're being told, like, we won the war, we're powerful, we're this and that, and Kwang is kind of opening Mamoru's eyes to it, and he's saying, like, that's not really what happened, like, people did die. I think that the Emperor just tells you and your people that because it will keep you here. It will keep you here, it will keep you training and continuing to want to be these warriors instead of spreading out like everybody else has and realizing that the world is going to shit. The world is going to shit. It's really not that great out there. And now poor Mamoru is like having a fucking beginning life crisis because he's only 14. I do feel for Mamoru though because it's kind of crazy. Like the kid is, he's a young mind, impressionable mind, and he's spent his whole life being told one thing about his people and about the future that he himself is striving for. And then to have this other person come in and kind of just like tear it all down and kind of like a nonchalant way too. I can just imagine that Mamoru is probably not going to handle this very well. I am so intrigued. I am so curious as to what's going to happen. Where are we going to go from here? What is this character's development going to look like? Because I can already tell that Mamoru is going to go through some shit. I can already tell he's gonna go through some stuff, and I'm sad. Is that what the kids say? I'm sad because I'm sitting. I hope that's what that means, because I am sitting and I am reading. These kids are so funny. Their interactions are hilarious. They got stuck on a mountain. And I'm telling you this because none of these are like big spoilers, but they got stuck on this like mountainside, and Mamoru's telling Kwong. So Mamoru is the 14-year-old Matsuda. He's a native to this area. Kwong is the outsider. Mamoru was telling Kwong, like, okay, it's time. Like, the moon is bright in the sky, and we will be able to see, and now we're going to go down the mountain. And I literally cannot with this kid. When Mamoru told Kwong that they were ready to go down the mountain, oh my god, Kwong says fine, but I swear to Nayari, if there are more rocks down there, we jump, my ghost is going to haunt your ghost. This kid is such a comedic relief, but like unintentionally so. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like what he's saying with his chest. Like, Kwong is for real. But he's just so funny compared to Mamoru, who's like so much more serious. He is such a little adult, and compared to Kwong, who is somebody of his age bracket, right? Who just has like a little bit more. He's just like a little bit more juvenile, just like a little bit more juvenile. And I just think their interactions are fucking hilarious because this kid is like, yo, what am I doing up here right now? But it's his fault because he fell. He got scared and he fell. I turned on brown noise. I don't know who I was watching. I was watching somebody and they talked about how, or they mentioned how they listen to brown noise when they're reading. And I was like, I wonder, because I know there's white noise, pink noise, and now there's brown noise. I don't know if there's any other colors. I'm not going to look them up at this point. So I turned on some brown noise. I usually have lo-fi on in the background. And it sounds like the beginning of the Rumble from Attack on Titan, when they let all the big Titans to like walk across the earth and destroy it. It sounds like the beginning of that. Like, they're real off in the distance, but they're coming, and I'm like, I keep looking at the TV expecting to see fucking Mikasa and Armin fighting Titans, and it's literally just. I read Blood Over Brighthaven, and I found it to be a very uncomfortable read because we were in the perspective of a character that I couldn't wrap my head around the character. I didn't want to wrap my head around the character. I just didn't want to. I didn't like them, and I hated their thoughts. I hated being inside their head. I hated everything they represented, and I hated the way they were almost made a hero. I just really disliked the main character in Blood Over Brighthaven. But anyways, I do remember reading that book and feeling like it was worlds apart from anything I had read in a very long time, because of like the themes they're quite heavy-handed in the Blood Over Brighthaven. I think the themes are a little heavy-handed, but not in a way that is annoying or grating. I think they're heavy-handed in the sense of like, that's the type of story that's being told. So you don't put gentle themes in a story that is just all grit, in my opinion. So I think it went perfectly. And I always told myself I would never reread that book because I just could not handle that main character. And I'm not going to lie, the Sword of Kaigen is making me rethink that stance. I don't think that ML Wong has anything else in their backlist besides these two books. I don't think there's anything else. I'd have to do some research. But I could see myself wanting to pick up Blood Over Brighthaven again after reading the Sword of Kaigen, just because this, and in my memory, the writing for this is very different from the writing for Blood Over Brighthaven, but there is something about, like, Mamoru is reflecting on the fact that there are people out there, ghosts, let's say, and he's wondering, do they resent me because I don't really know the truth of how they passed? Do they resent us because we just wash away the memory of everything they've ever done in their life and we hide it under XYZ instead? And just that like way of writing, and almost like, it's almost, I just feel like ML Wong is talking to me directly in these moments. It just feels so personal for some reason. I do remember that in Blood Over Brighthaven, having those moments where I felt like the writing was just like coming alive. And it's not necessarily like dialogue or anything. It's just, there's just something about the way the words are put together and the questions that are being asked and the way things are being framed that just feels like it jumps out at me. And I remember that from Blood Over Brighthaven, and I kind of want to experience it again. Oh my god! Oh my god! Where is Misaki? Where is Misaki? Literally, my heart is like coming out of my chest right now. Where is this child's mother? We need her. This is getting crazy. I can't do it. I can't fucking do it. You ever just be reading and it starts to stress you out? So you're like, I gotta put the book down. I can't do it. I have to put the book down. I like sped walk through that. I can't. It's like we're in the middle of a battle, and all I can think of is, where the fuck is Masaki right now? Because I don't trust these guys. Like, I don't trust them to stay alive. Can you just answer my fucking message? Please? Please? I don't understand why it's so hard. Like, our job is literally to talk to each other. Whatever, it's fine. It's not, but it's fine because there's nothing I can do about it. I'm gonna have to put spoilers or something in the title of this video, but Misaki is dealing with issues in her pregnancies. And, you know, it's so relatable. Like, you feel inadequate, you feel like you're the problem. It just, and then others around you also kind of like, they attack you and they make you feel like you are in fact the issue, and it's not something that, it just happens sometimes, you know, especially at a time where maybe they don't have medical technology. I don't know. I'm a little confused on like how technologically advanced these people are, but at the end of the day, Misaki is made to feel like she's the problem because of this issue, this problem. And it's just, she finally meets somebody who tells her, like, you're not you, it's not you, it just is a thing of life. Like, you are not useless, you aren't you, like, it's not you. And it just makes me want to cry because we're touching on some like really heavy topics when it comes to motherhood and what motherhood sometimes, what that reality looks like for some women. And it just is, it's relatable, it's resonating because, you know, people love to tell you, like, well, you chose to have kids, or like, you're a mom, this is what you got to do. And it's like, it doesn't make it not hard. Just because you have to do something or you've chosen to do something doesn't make it not hard. Doesn't take away your right, like, to say this is hard, I'm struggling, whatever the case is. Like, it just is. I really love Misaki, and I love Setsuko, her sister-in-law. I really love her. I think that just acknowledging someone else's struggle, acknowledging their pain, even if you can't do anything to fix it or make it go away, just acknowledging that that person is feeling something, is going through something, and that they are allowed to do that just means so much. I think that's more powerful than any fucking solution, quite frankly. And I'm gonna go back to reading because it's getting a little intense there, a little fired up. Just beautiful. I need to annotate this. Setsuko is just an amazing fucking character, and nothing better happened to her, ML Wong. Nothing better happened to her. That's all I'm saying. What? Setsuko! Setsuko is going to be the reason this is a 5-star book, in my opinion. She's going to be the reason, because this woman is just dropping, she's just dropping all the tea. She said, why don't you try taking responsibility for the things you can control instead of the things you can't? And that's why we like Setsuko. They sent me a demand, and I said, all right, well, send me the video footage. I can't access the video footage. Then there's no demand to be made. What do I look like? The Tooth Fairy? I don't just give out stuff. You gotta prove it. I have my mouse on a thingy so that my screen doesn't time out. And I'm reading and I can see the certain things being highlighted, and I'm like, and then I remember it's on the pad. That's why. I haven't read a horror in a while. I think I want to read a horror book. Interesting. Do you know what I realized? Do you know what I realized as I was reading this? At the beginning of the book, let me just show it to you guys. Okay. I hope you can see this. At the beginning of the book, there's a map, and it says Planet Duna, right? And I thought about it when I saw the map, and then as I've been reading, I've kind of been curious. I'm like, Planet Duna. So like, are we not on Earth? Right? And I didn't give it much thought, because like sometimes I do look at maps at the beginning of a fantasy book, and I'm like, oh, like trying to remember where things are so that when it comes up. In this case, there were so many other components. Like, you have this map, but then you also have that map there, right? And then on the next page, you have this list of like the theotypes. Is that what they're called? Theotypes. And then the other page has the kafanu. I hope I'm doing this right, so you can see it. So like, it was just a lot at the beginning. So I was like, it's okay if I don't remember everything, because I'm going to learn as I read, and I annotate. So, I'll annotate things that stick out. I have been looking up words in the back in the glossary here and there, and I'm starting to realize that Planet Duna is not fucking Earth. It's not, because they're just how they measure time, right? It's Wati or Watinu, a Dunian measure of time, 1 hour and 12 minutes in Earth time. That's how I'm realizing that we're not on Earth, we're on a different planet. And this is why, when I think about reading a damn classic, I'm like, can I handle that? Anyways, I'm realizing that this is not planet Earth. Sword of Kaigen occurs on a different planet altogether, which kind of makes sense now with like the terrain of this place too, like the terrain, the mixture of like old Japanese. I said Chinese at some point before, but I think Sam corrected me. I think it's more so based on Japanese culture. I'm now starting to understand we're on a different planet, and there is a mixture of like super advanced technology and parts of the world of this planet that also don't have super advanced technology, much like Earth, but things, it's just different. So it's just kind of like wrapping my head around that for a second. I really hope my chicken nuggets and french fries are done. I made myself lunch. That was the like sound you guys could probably hear before when I was recording. It was me making chicken nuggets. And I don't know what's going on. I can't find a bobby pin. So I've just been letting her do whatever she pleases. I ended up finishing the Sword of Kaigen at my parents' house when I was there for my birthday, which there was just like a lot of activity going on, so I didn't record too much, but ended up finishing it. Not to say that I didn't love the Sword of Kaigen, because I did. I loved it. I thought that the world was so unique. The magic system felt familiar, but at the same time, it felt like I was learning about something I'd never learned about, if that even makes sense. The character work in this story was exceptional. It really was. And I appreciated so much that Misaki was a mature woman who had a family. She had 5 kids. She had a husband. She had like a small group of friends that she could count on. And she stayed somewhat true to herself throughout the story. I loved her development. It wasn't like this really strong character arc where they start as like a very naive and gullible and then they just develop into this like, it wasn't like that. It felt more like a really genuine portrayal of motherhood and parenthood, I think. Just that sense of losing yourself once you become a parent. Who am I besides this role that is so important, of course, but who am I outside of this role? And I think Misaki and ML Wong, they went on a journey together, I feel like, and it shows on the page. It really does show, and it's beautiful to see Misaki kind of step back into the woman that she can be, not necessarily that she was, but the woman that she can be. And I really appreciated it. Again, it resonated with me as a mother who sometimes feels like I'm nothing like the person I used to be. Like I'm so different and I kind of miss aspects of the old Ange. There's just parts of this story that really, really hit my heart when I was reading it. And I really enjoyed the character work. I did. I feel like most people, when they talk about the Sword of Kaigen, they just say how much they loved it, how wonderful it was, it made them cry, it whatever, XYZ. I feel like maybe because we've all kind of come to terms with the fact that there's nothing else in this world, like Emma Wong has made it very clear, she will not be returning to the Theonite war story world, right? It's done. She can't go back to that. I think because she wrote it when she was really young, so like that connection to that story is no longer there. I don't know. I just know that we say that, we mention it in passing and everything, but I don't really hear people talking about how that information impacts their experience reading. Maybe because I knew it. I knew for a fact that there was nothing else in this world coming, right? Maybe that is why when I got to the end of the story, I felt a sense of disappointment. If I'm being honest, I felt a sense of disappointment because it was so good. It was such a fleshed out story. I loved the way that we learned about the characters, we learned about the magic in the world, about the conflict and the hierarchies and all of that. I really enjoyed everything about it. I love the flashbacks. But to get to the end of the story and have so many unanswered questions and so little closure for me personally, and know that there's nothing else coming after, can't I can't then think about the book as its own thing, because for me, at the end of the day, Sword of Kaigen felt incomplete when I was done. There are so many things that are still spinning around in my head from when I was reading and when I finished the story, and it was a beautiful ending. It was a beautiful story and I loved every moment of it. But when I got to the end and I realized, like, this is the end, there's nothing else, even though there are some open-ended questions or open-ended, I don't know, it felt a little incomplete for me. Again, I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it. I think it's wonderful. It does take a little bit for you to kind of grasp where you are and who the players are and what their magic system is. It takes a little bit. For me personally, I was like halfway through and I was still trying to attach families to powers and where they sat in the hierarchy and stuff. But ultimately, I had a really good time while I was reading the book. I enjoyed it. It was emotional. There were moments that were very, very satisfying. There were moments that really made me grind my teeth together. But ultimately, I still have some questions, and I don't have anything against some more ambiguous endings. Sometimes I like that. Let me imagine what could be. But this, to me, in my opinion, and reading is subjective, of course, the Sword of Kaigen felt like the first book to something. It felt like there needed to be a continuation in order for me as the reader to get any type of closure on certain things that happened and were said, and players that were. So I have a hard time saying, like, oh my God, it's my new favorite book of the year, favorite book of all time, because something really important to me is closure, and I didn't really get too much of it in The Sword of Kaigen. I have a lot of questions. So I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I would recommend it. I think it's wonderful. I know that ML Wong has traditionally published Blood Over Brighthaven, which I read that first. I had read that first. And it's a great book. I shouldn't say wonderful. It's a great fucking story. She did a phenomenal job with that story. And I think that this clearly shows you what this author started with, where they started from, what they started with as far as tools and writing style. It was incredible. And it shows the improvement and the growth and the maturity shows in Blood Over Brighthaven. As far as like maturing as a writer, it shows. It's evident if you've read the two books. But yeah, I loved it. I don't know how to say I loved it without also having to say, like, it just didn't answer all my questions. Anyways, we have come to the end of another reading vlog. Pretty proud of myself for kind of jumping back in to recording and vlogging and kind of sticking with it. Because life has just been like really crazy. I don't know. March was a weird month too. Can't wait for things to like settle down a little bit. Hopefully this spring. But I will see you guys in the next video. As always, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching and hanging out with me and coming along on these silly little rides that are these books, because sometimes they be doing some serious damage to your girl. So thank you very much for your support and for hanging out with me. And as always, happy reading.